Welcome to Not Your Typical Leadership Coaching, the podcast that builds on conventional wisdom and adds a fresh perspective on this ever-evolving field of coaching.
Are you fed up with advice that doesn't really get to the heart of the matter or really get you?
Whether you're a reluctant or seasoned leader, this podcast is for you.
Embark on a journey of actionable insights, harness untapped potential, and learn to develop a mindset that will transform you permanently.
Not Your Typical Leadership Coaching, where we shatter boundaries and awaken the confident and compassionate leader within.
Hello, Leslie. Welcome to the Not So Typical Leadership Coaching podcast. I said not so typical. I'm going to try it again.
I noticed that.
Yeah, we might think about that. Leslie, actually, the name of the podcast is Not Your Typical Leadership Coaching Podcast. Welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. And Marty invited you. And so we've got some questions. And how about you and I just take turns, Marty, asking her those questions?
Okay, great. Do you mind if I start?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. So because just so the people listening know, Leslie and I have been friends for 100,000 years.
Wow.
I've been counting. And
Exactly.
but I honestly don't know the answer to the question, how did you get started in coaching? How did that ever start?
Oh, that's funny. I just had a very windy career path, really, and a degree in psychology. And then I started putting professional speakers on stages because I wanted to sell ideas instead of things. Before that, I was selling computers.
I see. Okay.
And so one of our mutual colleagues where we had met, I was always behind the scenes all the time. And I finally was like, I have something to offer that I'm not seeing out there with these people that I've been behind the scenes supporting. So I, with a lot of fear, and it just started taking action to put myself out in front instead of in the back.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
That says a little bit about why you saw a need, basically.
Yep.
What was that need? Do you mind saying?
And I mean, I think this speaks a little bit, the answer to this has to do with as well, like the self-help industry is a magnet for, it's about consumerism, right? And all of these products and services and books to help people get better instead of acknowledging our humanity and integrating ourselves for our own wisdom and our own power. And that's what I was seeing out there was a lot of hungry ghost hamster wheel, quick fixes and people getting engaged and spending money in a never ending cycle where they weren't fully, all of us in the industry, even our clients weren't fully coming to a place of wholeness and integration where they don't need us anymore.
I see. Very interesting. So that whole industry is based on an assumption. I hear you saying like that there's something wrong we need to fix.
Yes, I think that's a bold statement. Do you agree?
I do agree.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell by that hunger, like there's that, it's not an integrated like choice. It's I need this, or I gotta do this, or somebody made me, or like it's got that hungry feel to it, not like a wine tasting where we're not drinking, we're just tasting. That might not be the best analogy, but thank you for saying that. That's really good. And so you are about integration, like being ourselves the way we really are.
Yeah, and that coaching is truly a trusted advisor relationship. It's customized. It's based on the wisdom of the person, the goals and intentions of the person. I know, Martin, and probably you, Bill, we have thousands of tools that we can use. So I always tell my clients, I don't know how this is going to go. It's up to you. And I'm going to bring forward what's appropriate based on what you're committed to. That's what the arc of coaching looks like, is a trusted advisor relationship.
Yeah, great. Do you want to jump in, Bill?
Yeah, so I do. Thank you. So you call your method the Spiral Method, yes?
Yes.
All right. Can you explain to us the philosophy of your coaching of the Spiral Method?
Yeah, so let me distinguish. Spiral method is a facilitation method for small groups to reach very high levels very swiftly of emotional intelligence training, community connection, collective wisdom, accessing the magic in between us and others. And so anyone can facilitate spiral method. My one-on-one coaching, over the years, I started working with groups. And so Spiral Method got developed in the field doing group work. And so they're really two distinct services that I offer. And Spiral Method, now we're training people to be able to deliver Spiral Method. And so it's a great model for coaches out there, because we get a lot of credibility, more revenue, and bigger impact when we have peer groups going. And our clients are served more. For example, if you've got 12 of your one-on-one clients that are also in a peer group, the growth that happens is exponential in a group setting. So it really it makes our one-on-one work easier, and it's more lucrative for us, and it's also less expensive for the clients.
So Leslie, I hear that the spiral method is a method that anybody can facilitate, that you've created. Do I understand that accurately?
Yes.
And you actually train people to facilitate the spiral method, and that's done with groups.
Yes.
And I loved what you had to say about the benefits of doing that. And I also understand that separately, you work with individual clients. What I'm curious about is, what is your philosophy when you're separately working with individual clients? What philosophy do you employ when you're working with them?
Yeah. I think so. First of all, that they have all of the wisdom that they need. I'm not giving them wisdom. I might be giving some education, but we are decluttering so that they can get really connected to their own wisdom. And part of finding that wisdom or accessing that wisdom is doing shadow work, a real acknowledgement and honoring and dignifying of shame and rage and trauma and jealousy and judgment and all these things that are just part of being human, such that we are at choice with what we start creating.
That
And
list.
then from there, building structures based on intention instead of all this automatic stuff. And I think where we get caught in the self-help industry is to just do away with all this. So do the spiritual bypassing, get rid of this, and go ahead and start building from here, trying to get somewhere. It's a complete mess.
We want only light, no shadows. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me hand it back to you, Marty.
I'm curious, like, what do you notice about the journey of the client that's different because of your approach?
That's a good question.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Listen, exactly, because you're a master questioner. I would say that what my clients say about the work is that you made my life better. They calm down. They get off the hamster wheel and start feeling more satisfied because of the integration work. And then by nature of all of that work and intentionality, then their results start to go up. So most are making more money, working less hours, way more happy. And that's what they're going to report. And that's sustainable long after I leave.
Hopefully. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's what they report. How would you guess? You've seen other coaches, you base this approach on observing others and feeling a need to fill. How is the experience of coaching different for you than it is for other coaches?
That's good. I love, love, love my clients. And I think a lot of coaches love their clients, but I think I learned a lot through Spiral Method is that facilitation, whether it be one-on-one or in a group, is one of the scariest things, because the best facilitation, we have no idea what's going to happen next, right? And so the magic of dancing in the moment and not having a book to refer to, and so I have to find my own vulnerability and every interaction with clients, my intuition, and trust myself, and be succinct and learn and know what's needed in the moment, even if it's different than the 10 things I think are needed. Yeah.
And so so you deal with a lot of fear, a scare. There's a scariness in being that vulnerable yourself in the relationship.
For sure. It's more and more, it's natural. It feels natural now, but in a group setting, it's much more present. Like I used to be in a group, let's say, and I'm like, I have no idea where we're going. I don't know what to do right now. And then I'd try to fill the space and be the smart one and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. And now I lean back and say, so I don't know what we should do right now. What do you guys think? What are you noticing? Like that. And that used to be terrifying.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I have
I'm a leadership consultant.
How do you I'm curious how that also then changes your life outside of coaching. What has that allowed for or given you possibility in your own life outside of your work? Ability to be with the fear and to invite the vulnerability and to dance in the conversation, to use your words. Where else does that impact life for you?
First of all, it's a vacation from my life on one hand, right? Because I have to be so present. And so whatever is going on in the moment or yesterday, I have to forget about. So that's a great thing. The other thing is I can't coach unless I am an ongoing learner myself. So I am the best coach when I'm actively in a program, when I just had a breakthrough conversation with my coach, when I took a bold action and said something or did something that was really edgy, then there's so much more potency in
Yes.
in the coaching. And then there's also the ripple effect, right? Like after a really good coaching call or a good day of coaching, my kids are better served when I walk out of my office.
Marty, I want to suggest that we shift now, given the time that we have to work with. We've asked Leslie if she'd be willing to demonstrate the spiral method with us or with one of us.
Okay.
And both Marty, you and I agreed that we're both game and ready to be the focus of that, either one of us individually or both of us together. So let me just hand it over then, Leslie, to you. Let's target up to 20 minutes. How's that sound?
Okay, great.
Would you like
Okay.
any time with or do you want any help with time management, or do you have it?
Oh, that's for the spiral method. Usually we're groups of 5 or 6 people up to 16. And so we're doing this with 3 of us. Totally appropriate, but a different experience than if
Right.
we had 16 here. But that we could do that in an hour and a half, and we'll be able to do this in that time, 20 minutes or less. And normally we would take a moment to pause and create this sacred space because this is a different conversation than what's out there. And I'll say a couple of the core agreements are to lean in and find the comfort zone, no learning, don't lean too far out, red zone. We halt our learning and it takes a while to get back to the kind of yellow. So we want to stay in the yellow zone and that everything is confidential, although we're recording this. So there's a level of psychological safety that's missing since we're recording it. But normally it's all confidential. And we're just going to play 3 games. And the first one is called Finish the Sentence. And this is first thought, best thought. And we'll go Marty, Bill, Leslie. So we also participate as facilitators in Spiral.
Great.
Well, let's just jump right in. And the first one, just what are the most, let's do mind, body, heart. So one word to describe the state of each: mind, body, heart. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go first. Mind is ragged. Body is strong. And heart is wide open.
And then Bill, you jump right in.
One word for each. Mind, busy. Heart. Oh, I skipped one. What was the second one? Body. Noticing tension. Heart. Guarded.
Nice. My mind is full. my body is tight and my heart is tender.
Okay.
What's like top of mind right now in your life or your business? It could be something exciting, it could be something stressful. Just what's the first thing that you think of, top of mind?
I'm writing a book and I'm gone back to edit the introduction. Having been to the end, I'm editing the introduction. So that's top of mind.
For me, I do a pro bono group 4 times a month. And today, in a chat stream, I ended up with a ton of requests for help on how to join that pro bono group. And I've got a tight day. So that's the busyness of the mind.
Yep. I volunteered at the prison, at the state penitentiary, at the maximum security prison all day yesterday. And it was one of the most amazing transformational heart connected experiences that I've had in a long time, or maybe my whole life. It was just beautiful. I want to go visit all of them now. What is your biggest challenge right now?
I'm writing a book and I went back to write the introduction. But let me not just be funny, but it's the challenge is not falling in, not writing another self-help book, not writing another book that falls into those categories. It's so easy to do. And so to stay in this other mode, like a fresh creative mode about the topic is leadership, right? That's the challenge.
The biggest challenge for me, I would say right now that I'm facing is trusting, accessing the faith that what's supposed to happen is happening and will continue to happen, and that I don't need to be in control of it. And this is regarding the development and growth of my coaching practice.
Awesome. I think mine's similar. The remaining in an expansive, well, from an expansive state, being very discerning at the same time. And then simultaneously, when I go into really small contracted states, giving myself permission to go there because I don't like being there, but it's inevitable and they may last long. How are you growing?
I'm in a coaching program myself. I'm in a program that everybody in it is a coach. That we've all been coaches for 2 decades or more, all of us. So it's a rather advanced group, and we're reading and talking about really challenging things, really like the integration of spirit and results, like you were just talking about, both of you in different ways. That's a real nut to crack. And so this program is really challenging me in that way.
How am I growing? So I feel a responsibility to my young parts that have been burdened under the shadows of the past as they are introduced to the present moment. I feel a sense of responsibility to provide them with information that helps them relate to the current moment. And so I get that through books, and I get that through conversations, and I get that through coachings and trainings. So right now, my wife and I, when we go on our walks and runs in the morning, we're listening to a book called Leadership and Self-Deception by the InnerActive Institute, and it's great. It's just wonderful. I'm also studying to understand and to provide one of those younger parts that hates marketing, to understand marketing and with a desire to find a way to get the word out about what it is that I do that fits within my own integrity and doesn't push up against my values. I recently reached out to my original coach from 2011, and we have now got an agreement where he coaches me twice a month. I coach him twice a month. And I also am growing because of my relationship with Marty, because we've got a similar arrangement where he coaches me and I coach him.
Great. It's so funny, Bill. Your answers are similar to mine. We should talk more. I'm really integrating the younger parts of myself, the little girl, the one that was left behind, the one that doesn't know how to ask to get her needs met without being really weird about it, the one that doesn't communicate clearly because of all that stuff. At 53 years old, it feels like the deepest level of this kind of integration work that I've ever done. And sometimes it's surprising. So let's just do 2 more questions. A place where I'm suffering. A place where I'm suffering. One sentence.
I have a brother who has two very severe mental illnesses, and I suffer over the fact that he has to be drugged severely and live in a home while I get to go out and play and have a great life. And I suffer horribly over the guilt of that.
Boy, that's a hard question. Where am I suffering is the question. Yes. Yeah, most of my suffering would have to be centered around relationships. I just was reminded in a conversation with my youngest daughter this morning that a relationship that has been severed between myself and her brother, my stepson, continues to poke at me and it's calling on me for something that I don't want to respond to.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, mine, I really want a lifelong partner and not readily available. Dating apps are awful. It's a place of trusting and still doing my inner work to have that person show up. We are going to do two more. If you really knew me, you would know. One or two sentences, brief to the point. If you really knew me, you would know.
If you really knew me, you would know that I'm just like, I really love being alive.
Yep.
If you really knew me, you would know that I am spirit.
Yeah, if you really knew me, you would know I have a lot of people that depend on me, and I have a whole other part of me that is an adventure-free spirit that wants to just go to the beach alone and see who else shows up. Okay, and then let's do the way that I want to be remembered. In a one sentence, a few words, just this is how I want to be remembered.
I would like to be remembered as creative.
I would like to be remembered. I've actually given some thought to this recently because I've been to several memorial services this past few months. I would like to be remembered as generous, loving, and thoughtful.
And I want to be remembered as a social impact leader and an amazing mother and a lover and a dancer. Okay, so that's the first game. Let's do a hot seat. We'll do this real quick.
Hot seat.
Is Bill. You've played this before, but quickly. Marty's gonna go on the hot seat. We're gonna ask him any question, any topic, any intensity level that we want. This is designed to move very quickly. Instead of raising your hand, Bill, you just ask. Let's just pop questions at him. And Martin, you can pass or tell the truth or lie, just like life. And we're practicing curiosity, and there's a whole bunch more rules, but that's it for now. Questions for Marty.
Marty, why does Leslie call you Martin?
She doesn't. This is staged. She actually she calls me Doc. She's doing it just for the sake of the consistency in this interview. It sounds weird to me that she's calling me that.
And I'd say thank you, Bill. So we close the loop. So thank you. How does it make you feel when I call you Doc? Honestly. Or no, you could pass or lie too.
Oh, okay. That's an option.
No, it feels sweet. It feels intimate. It feels honorary. That's how it feels. I like it.
Thank you.
What else do I want to know? Yeah, go ahead.
What are you confronting at the core of your being around writing this book?
The book is on leadership, and I'm confronting taking the lead in the conversation about leadership in general, like being the leader of that conversation about leadership. It's very confronting to me.
Thank you. Why?
Because I've always told myself that I was a follower or somebody who leads from behind. It's a gentle way of saying a follower to myself. I've always said that. And I hide behind my clients even. You go produce the results. I'll stay back here at the office and make sure it all gets done. This has just been the story I've told myself my whole life. And in the last 6 months, I've realized it's a bunch of BS.
Thank Thank you.
Marty, what does that story protect? In other words, what are you afraid? What are you most afraid of if you succeed here?
Oh gosh, there's so many things, especially we've observed now, like when somebody steps out into the limelight, how they get beat up in public. That's one thing. And I think that might be the main thing for me because it goes all the way back to when I came out to my parents and they said, that's okay, we still love you, but you're going to have a really hard life. So I have that sort of ingrained in me. If you step out the limelight, people are going to beat you up.
And what does it take to press through that?
I really loved your using that phrase, dancing in the conversation. I have a card, laminated card I keep on my desk all the time with ways of being that are old, and they set up patterns of behavior that are not conducive to human growth. And then on the other side of this black bar, ways of being that are conducive to human growth. And the last one on the list is dancing in the conversation. So I think that's really the way I do it. I don't know about tomorrow, but for today, I'm going to put this forward and see how it lands and deal with the reaction to that and just dance with it. I might have to retract it all, but for now, I'm stepping this way, dancing.
Thank you. Okay, we have to stop because of time. So we're going to go to the last game, which is withholds. And this is a chance for us this is really a clearing the space game. It's not really a communication, although it looks like a communication. We're going to speak to one or a couple of us. And again, this also has about 8 rules to how to play this game well, but you guys have both played before. So we'll just start and we'll do a couple rounds withhold.
Okay.
And you're first, Marty.
One thing is that we had a list of questions that we came up with. We worked on them. We sent them to you. And then when we got on Zoom, because I had them still in the email and the email was dinging, we had to turn that off. So we've been ad-libbing the questions since then. And that's just been like on my mind. We're not using the questions. I'm willing to disclose that and let it go.
Thank you. Bill?
I'm not certain that I have played this game before, but I think I get the gist. I had a client who reacted to me in a way that activated one of my parts that felt hurt by her interaction with me. And another part had me pretending like I was fine. And that hurt is still with me.
Thank you. That's a great withhold and great example of a withhold. And for the next round, Bill, see if there's anything for me or Martin that you want to speak to.
Oh, okay.
So this exercise it's a reveal and there are many different ways to play it. So I just want to poke at that for a minute. I would say, Doc, my withhold, I've seen you go to dark places and emerge so bright. And so when I ask about your book, I know without even seeing it that you're digging deep. And that's why I asked the question, because I know it's happening regularly and it's a beautiful thing to witness. You in particular doing this deep integration work.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do another round. One more. We have one more.
So when we did the mind, body, heart, Bill, and you said about your heart that it felt, what did you say exactly?
Guarded.
Guarded. So when you said that, I got guarded.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be unguarded and you have to be guarded. And so it's set up. And so there's part of me that wants to hear more and take care of you and all of that.
And so we just say thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. And then it's your turn.
Leslie, you and I had never met before today's conversation, and I had some preconceived ideas of what you would look like, what you would sound like, how you would talk, and none of them are true. And I'm so pleased to meet you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Great. Now I want to hear what those preconceived notions were, Bill. Yeah, I appreciate the mutual connection here. And Doc speaks so highly of you. And I can't believe we haven't met yet. So it has been a pleasure. I'm glad we got to spiral a little too. And like I said, your answers all resonate with me. It feels like we're on very parallel paths.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so those were the 3 games. Now we would also do a closing section. Let's do one round of closing and then I'll pass it back. What's one thing that you're noticing or aware of right now? Something in your own system, something in the group field, just a sentence.
I'm a single man, and most of my family has passed on, or in the case of my brother, is in a home. And so for me, this is like family. This is like so delicious, just being with the 2 of you. It's like being with family.
Thank you.
I think this is like an acknowledgement. Can you, Leslie, would you mind tell me again what it is that we're doing here?
Yeah, so this is a closing round. So it's nice to put a bow on the spiral method because it does bring things up and it's
Yep.
kind of an arc and we're coming down.
Yeah.
So anything, to put a bow. So I ask an open question. What are you noticing now?
I got it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm noticing that I'm wanting my heart to not feel guarded. And I'm also noticing that it is softening. And yet that still is true. What's true for me is that my heart, and maybe it's true that I lead with this most of the time, that my heart is guarded until it can relax. And also that I want you to know that all of my preconceived ideas, Leslie, about you were great, and this is greater.
Thank you. I'm just noticing that I trust you, Bill, because there's alignment in your way of being and your communications and your sharing. So there's an automatic trust. And in all honesty, Doc has introduced me to people that he thinks I'm going to love automatically, and I am averse to them in some way. So that wasn't predictable. So it's refreshing, and I look forward to more time with you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Great. So that was Spiral Method in a very quick nutshell.
So I'm imagining you or someone facilitating, and I've actually had the experience of Marty facilitating the group of coaches, some of whom we hope to have on our podcast and have similar conversations with. When we all got together for the first time, was it just last year, I believe, Marty, for the first time face-to-face?
I think it was, yeah. It was early in the last year.
In Santa Fe, and the 3 of us guys, we got an Airbnb, and the women stayed together in one of the other coaches' homes where she lived, right there in Santa Fe. And so we were on the patio at our Airbnb, and Marty introduced the spiral method. And my recollection of that was that it was amazing and powerful and upsetting and scary and disturbing. And now I'm imagining, and so I think Marty did set some context around that, saying, we're all coaches. And so it's probably predictable that we're going to go in deeper and more boldly than other groups. I don't know if you actually said that or not, Marty, if I just made that up. But so my question, Leslie, for you is, I'm imagining that this is happening in corporate settings, in businesses, with families. There's all kinds of different applications. And it seems like there's a lot of potential for things to go south here.
Yeah.
What's my question? When it goes south as a facilitator, what do you do?
Run as fast as you can. I did have one situation where I swear I wish I would have gone to the bathroom and said, I'm sick, I can't continue. We'll reconvene tomorrow. This is the reason we have an oath in the certification program, and we take this very seriously. It's a high level of responsibility to lead these conversations, and that the method is black and white. There are tons of tips and tricks to make sure that it doesn't go south that are embedded in the method. So I first say that it's a lifelong practice as well. And I haven't had this go south for me and in recent years after, maybe doing this 300 times or maybe 1,000 times. So that's the first thing. When it does go south, this is the mastery and self-awareness to be able to say, this is too hot right now. We're going to cause more damage. We have to pause. This is, I think, we're all human, and we all, like you're pointing to, Bill, is going to a place of pretending that we're okay, trying to backpedal and manage it. And that's not going to do anything but make things worse, right? Is pretending. And so we have to know our own triggers to facilitate this. It's okay to start slow when people do spiral, when people have been certified and are going to take this out. Go slow, take it easy, touch into those hot spaces and back off a little if needed. And in corporate America, it's much different than a peer group of like-minded coaches or leaders or a peer group of any kind. Oh God, because Joe might have just taken Susie's job, or the corner office, or Bill got fired, or there's a whole agreement about the CEO doesn't really care about the people, or whatever it is. Those are all embedded in the culture, held together by the people. And so we have to slowly develop a trusted space so that we can freely talk about the real stuff under the rug. And if we're pushing, that's why things go south.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With just a few minutes left, Marty, what's on your mind that hasn't been asked or said?
Just on this last topic, one thing to say is that Leslie and I developed a curriculum for training people in facilitating, and it's actually very effective method sometimes to bring an issue and to treat it in this way, spiraling, takes some of the significance out, allows things to get said, and facilitates moving through problems. So I don't know if Leslie would, but I would go so far to say that this would be a good place to bring problems and let the insouciance of the spiral method itself help move us through them.
Yeah. Can I give you an example of one of my failures?
Sure.
It's all about the shadow work, right? No, I was working with a team. It was my first session in there, and I usually do pre-interviews and all of that. And one person, I had said, it was a woman, I had said, once I set the container, I don't think I said that. This is what I'm saying to you. Once we set the container, then we can go there and allow people to go there. But the container has to be set. And what's happening, I want to just do another tangent. What's happening in Spiral Method is that we're training people in curiosity, direct communication, crisp communication. We can say something in one word or one sentence and be brief and still go right to the heart of the matter. We're training people in listening. We're training in curiosity. I don't know if I said that already, but lots of things. We're expanding our capacity for the heat, for sensation. So over time, this just keeps building on itself, and the group begins holding the container. The facilitator no longer needs to be so rigorous about the container because it's getting owned. In this pre-call, I said, you'll know when it's time to share. We get to the session, I hadn't set the container yet, and she started sharing, and it had a lot of emotional content, and I let it go. I was like, look, this is so vulnerable. This is what we want. Let's let her keep talking. In her emotional content, she makes some references to the person she's speaking with. She makes references to potential, not abuse, but in the corporate culture of sex, whatever. I can't think of the word right now.
Harassment?
Yes, sexual harassment. And who she's talking to is the lawyer of the firm.
Oh, gosh.
So he stonewalled. He was like, nope, I'm not having any more conversation. And none of us knew what was going on. None of us. And then the girl, she was really upset. And she's like, no, I go to the bathroom. And I said, no, we're going to stay in the heat. Very young in my career. I've done all the failures for everyone so that I could teach you
thank
how
God.
to do these things. It was awful. I went back for free the next day and had a 3-hour session with the two of them. And I recently ran into the CEO, and she said it had nothing to do with you. And I'm like, so anyway, it's about setting the container.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And isn't that the key to working out problems in any other context too? We need a container, there's right in which to face what's dangerous and risky so that it can be faced. So if anything's possible, then anything's possible. And that's not safe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Safety
Yeah.
is crucial to being able to make any progress in personal transformation. Have awareness. We have to have safety.
Yeah.
And safety, so I've been really learning this. So there's safety. The container is set outside of me, so me or others feel safe to sink into it. But I'm really refining now at this point in my life that safety lives here. And so it's this kind of what's the integration and interaction between the external and internal safety.
Right. Yeah. So in a way, you can be safe in almost any environment.
Yep.
This is a great topic we should take up in later on in the podcast. This is one of the beautiful things about the spiral method. Thank you for bringing it, Leslie, because it is such a key element to what makes coaching work,
Right.
even in the spiral context.
Right.
And, that people might wonder when we say, this is not your typical coaching. Is it safe though?
And I just again acknowledge, Bill, I trust you because of that alignment. And that's part of what I'm guessing how you create psychological safety with your clients, right?
Yeah.
This alignment in our way of being. We're still the guide. We're still the one holding the container, but we're not up on a pedestal as if we know more than our clients.
Yeah. That's a great observation that you made of Bill, that alignment in him. Thank you for pointing to that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to wrap up now. But before we do, Leslie, I want to give you an opportunity to extend an invitation to your services. Let folks know what you're open to and what you're offering and how they can get a hold of you.
Thank you. We have the certification program so that we're teaching people to be spiral facilitators. And it's a 2-day Zoom launch, SpiralMethod.com. The spiral launch program is a whole separate thing. Really, the first step is for people to learn how to spiral and then go have a ripple effect out there in the world.
So SpiralMethod.com. Okay, then. Anything else, Leslie, that you want to say before we say thank you and goodbye to you?
No, thank you so much. I love what you guys are doing, and let's do it again.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Leslie. Thank you, Martin. Martin,
Doc.
Martin.
Bye, Doc.
Thank you both. It's great to have you together.
That concludes another episode of Not Your Typical Leadership Coach. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to fuel your leadership journey.
Remember, true leadership is not about you. It's about empowering others.
Take your insights to heart and cultivate a leadership mindset that will transform you from within.
Thank you for joining us on this quest to leadership excellence. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our upcoming episodes where we delve deeper into the art of leadership.
Until next time, remember that you have the power to lead.